Well, here we are, day 3. Probably could have got a little bit more work done yesterday on day 2, but it was super foggy. It was sticky. None of my measurements were working out right. It just wasn't a good day. We did get all the rim joists done, and I had to run to town because the joist hangers that I got were too short. They said for 6 or 8 inch. And I've seen other people use like 3-inch joist hangers on 8-inch boards, but I wanted 7-inch hangers on these 8-inch boards. I just wanted that extra support. So I went to swap those out, as well as these Fasten Master 6-inch ledger bolts. For these ones, golly, I just looked at the box. I can't think of who makes them right now. But they're what they had. They're only 5 inches, but you see these have thread all the way down to this last inch. So I tried one out already. They really snugged that ledger board up tight, and it's a structural screw just like this is, so it's going to give me plenty of support along that ledger board. And then I'll take these out, and then what I'm going to do with these is I'll use these on the corners because I have 6 inches of material there, so I'll be able to use these on the corners for a little structural stability. So hopefully today we'll get the joists hung, and we can start on the decking. My ultimate goal is to be done with all the decking today, and then we can move on to working on the stairs. So yeah, thanks for coming. It's always a blessing. I know I've already said that 2 or 3 times in this same video, but you see the sun's out. It rained all night again, and just a blessed day all the way around. So yeah, get yourself something to drink, sit back. I'm gonna after I show you what I'm gonna do, then we'll hit the time lapse. So again, working by myself, and I want to start hanging these joists, right? So we're gonna go, I guess, parallel to the front of the cabin, right? Let me turn around so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's the cabin. We're gonna run the joists this way so that all my deck boards come out from the house, or from the cabin straight out. Because they're 8-foot boards, I did it by design, so it reduces the cutting. So in an effort to reduce that cutting, 2 things. One, I put this 2x4 down here just as a helping hand. So as you can see, I got a 2x8 right there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in place. I'm going to try to level it up, and then I'm going to make a mark right here. That's where I put my board, support board. I'm actually going to do double 2x8 across to the cabin here, and then those boards will run from that rim joist to here. So I'll also make a line on this ledger board to mark where the end of that goes, and then I'll toenail those in. And then I'll probably use ledger locks from the other side and come through, and the same thing on that side, use ledger locks and come through to secure both of those boards to make it bomb proof. So okay, so I got my first board here. This is just going to be my template board, and like I said, I'm going to set it on the 2x4 there. I'm going to level it up with that ledger board so it mostly looks level, and of course I got the crown up on this just so it's going the right way. Then I'm going to mark my line right here, and that's going to be the inside line for the support beam that's going to go across the center. And now I'm going to come over there and do the same thing. Set that there. I'm going to get real close. You're not going to be able to see this, but get that level. I'm going to just start a line here, and then I'll come back with the speed square and square that up. So there you see, there's my line. So there'll be a 2x8 that sits right here. So 2x8 there, and then I'll fit another 2x8 right here beside it. So let me do that real quick, and then, well, let me finish this line. We'll get that 2x8 across there, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, quick check in what we did here. 16 on centers, right? So I had to cut that edge out here a little bit to get our 16 on centers. Got them marked, so we'll line up the edge of the board here, put the X there, there. And then I did the same thing in the center. Make sure that I put it on the same side as it is on that side, right? So the line is closest to the cabin, X is further away from the cabin, so that I actually have 16s on center. And then I went ahead and marked the other side of this post, or this beam, making sure, again, I got the X on the appropriate side. Especially doing upside down and backwards, sometimes it gets confusing. So now I can go ahead and fit these joists in there. And I'm going to start in the center, just because it's a little tight. So I'm going to start in the center to kind of give it its give, and then hopefully the ones in between will go in a little quicker. Now back to the time lapse. So all that was just to get these in place. I tried to get them as close to level as I could, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to come back and hang with the joist hangers. I just wanted to make sure they were mostly lined up, and then about halfway through I thought, well, wait a second. I'm taking these screws out anyhow to get the joist hangers and the nails in. So that's that. I went ahead and I took this 2x4 off the bottom, since they're all toe-nailed in and tacked in. I got everything generally lined up. If it works out that the screws can stay, then I'll keep the screws. If not, then I won't. I have a couple of extra nails holding these two together. I'll come back later with a nail gun because we've talked about this before, right? Nails as opposed to screws, right? Screws are for lifting. Nails are better for shearing, except for these timber lock screws or fasten fastener screws. They're some special metal that is appropriate for both. So that's why we're using those along there. But we'll use the nails on the joists. So nothing crazy about that. You've seen us do joists before. So let me go ahead and get these joists in, joist hangers, I'm sorry. Get the joist hangers in with the nails, and get those joist hangers in with the nails over there. I'm gonna timber lock those in, or whatever. I'll figure out the name of these new screws that I got to make sure that's nice and solid, and then we'll just move on to the other side. As you can tell, I was adjusting on the fly over there. So this first one, I took the screw out and then I tried to balance it and level it and do all that stuff, and it made it next to impossible. So what I did for the rest of them was I just left that screw in and kind of adjusted it up or down to get it level. It looks like maybe that last one is a titch high, but I think the outer rim joist is a little high as well. I don't know if you can see that from here. I think it'll turn out okay. Because that first board I'll connect there and on the joist going parallel to the cabin, so I think it'll work out fine. So on this side over here, now I'm in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave those screws in place. Most of these are pretty close to level, maybe just a titch twisted, so I'll have to untwist that. But I'll probably just leave that screw in place and then hammer around it. But these 3.5-inch nails there's something else to work with, but I have no doubt that they're gonna hold this thing and make it bomb proof. So let me get these other 5 joist hangers hung, and then we'll move over to the other side and get those joists hung. It's windy. I tell you, all the time it's windy. So I guess one of the poles fell over, knocked the camera over. Of course, took a casualty. There's our microphone. So I don't know what you caught at the end there, but I got all the joist hangers in. We're pretty level. I don't think I could slide the 4-foot level all the way across, but it's pretty close. So yeah, now on to the next side after I figure out what I'm gonna do with this mic. I forgot to show you what we're working with here. Like I talked about, I had to switch out to 5-inch CTX construction lag screws by Big Timber. That's what they had, so that's what we're using. And they're holding real tight. I like them. And then for the joists hangers, I'm using these 12-penny patio deck nails, 3.25-inch spiral shank exterior galvanized. Now, according to Simpson, You can use smaller 2.5 and 1.5, but I knew I was doubling up the outer rims of these of the deck, and I was going to have a double 2x8 in the middle, so I would have room for a larger nail. And everything that I could find, it won't structurally alter the integrity of those 2x8s, because I have two as opposed to just one, so it's not going to be just free flying out there. So I just wanted to show you those real quick in case you had questions about what exactly I was using. At this point, we're just on rinse and repeat. So I got my 5 boards here that are going to be my joists. I have my screws in the ends of this side. Again, I'm just going to set it on the edge to edge. I'll make my line and I'll cut it. So yeah, that's it. And then I think, like I said, I've been back and forth with the screw thing a couple of times. Most of the time I used them, sometimes I didn't. Mostly just because either the screw was in the way or it wasn't doing me any good. So so we'll see how that goes. So cue some more music and let's get to the time lapse. Here we are, day 4 of our 3-day project. I probably could have got finished in 3. I had to fog that one day, and then yesterday I just dipped out so I could go hunting because it was a beautiful day. The wind was blowing the right direction. Of course, I saw a bunch of doe, but I already got some meat in the freezer, so we're looking for horns right now. I digress. So let's see if we can't get this finished up. I've already been at it this morning. I got those last 5 joist hangers hung. I didn't figure you wanted to see that since you already saw me do 15 other ones. One recommendation though for all those DIYers out there who don't swing a hammer every day like me, get them all done in one day, or check out the Simpson Strong Tie. They have the SDS screws. I think they recommend 2.5 inches at the angle, 1.5 inches going straight in. They're structural deck screws, so they're just as good as nails. You don't have to worry about them shearing like regular screws. If you just get regular outdoor exterior wood screws, those are real brittle. So this up and down will just snap those off. Even though I still have some in there, they were just pretty much there to hold the boards in place while I got the nails in place. But my forearm is absolutely smoked this morning. I mean, you can't see it, but it's probably twice the size of my left arm. And I'm sure that those folks out there that swing a hammer for a living, if they looked at the way I was doing it, would be like, this is all wrong. But you know, I don't have a $500 hammer. I just have whatever old Red Wing or whatever it is that I've had for 25 years. So enough babbling. Let me we're gonna go ahead and start getting deck boards on. This is all level. There's some spots that are, I mean, a 1/16 of an inch high, 1/16 of an inch low, but I wasn't splitting hairs over that. This stuff's gonna shrink and contract and move anyhow. So the idea is, you can see right here behind me, we got these boards. I just had them there so I could get in and out of the cabin because of course that's where I store all my stuff. So I'm gonna move these down. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do here on the end, and then we're gonna talk about that camo system that we're gonna use with the hidden fasteners with screws, right? So we're going up and down now. So we want screws to hold it down because that will give us more forgiveness. So let me get all this stuff set up. Let me find that camo stuff and let's get cracking. Got ahead of myself. First I got to cut these tops of these posts off. Remember, I left them a little bit long, and then I'm going to come back with the big lag bolts, and I'm gonna tack these all in to make sure the entire outer perimeter is completely secure before I start trying to put these deck boards on. So I'll hit the time lapse while I do that because there won't be much explaining. I'm just gonna cut this flush. I'm gonna drop 2 in each corner. Same thing on the other side, and then I'm gonna hit this corner back here close to the cabin with 2 kind of at an angle, so they go into the rim joist of the house, and yeah, that'll be it. So let me do all that, then we'll start getting these boards on here and talk about those camo screws. All right, so there you see, right on the edge, not on the top, so I won't have no marks on the top. Right on the edge, right on the edge. Like I said, the only place I will, I'm gonna go straight through here at my 1 inch mark to keep this edge secure, and then also over there along the edge of the house. So I think now you kind of pretty much get the idea. So probably back to time lapse. If I come across any other nifty things, then I'll kick it off and I'll tell you what I'm doing. Always learning as we go here with these camo screws. You see, this one jumped out a little bit. That's more than that 3/16 of an inch that we were looking for from our guide. Because when I screwed this board, the second board, I did this side first and it pushed the board that way. So what I've been doing on the next board is, you see there's my 3/16 of an inch. I screwed from the outside first, so that gave me my gap. It pushes itself back against itself so that you set your gap up properly as you go. And then of course, none of these boards are perfect. So you see there, I got just a little tight. And then the same thing here on this board. I'm connected here, I'm connected down at the end, but here in the middle it's a little bit tight. So I went to grab the little bitty crowbar, see if I can do some work with that, just to give myself a bit of space there. And then I'm hoping once I set the camera down, I can actually fit the camo system down in there and get our gap. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to work this right here. I'll set the camera beside me so you can see what I'm doing, enjoy the struggle with me, and see if we can get this down in there. Because right now, as you can see, that's not gonna fit. So keep that in mind. All these boards are not gonna be perfectly straight, and that's what we're dealing with. All I'm doing is messing up the deck boards doing that. So let's see if I come over here closer. There we go. Flush yet? Almost. I'm gonna help myself here. I'm gonna just space and then put something in between so that I can move it over. Look at there. Now we're thinking. All right, now we're flush. So I just use that as a spacer so I can get this in place and then come on in and zip. And keep your hand on top of this too. You saw how much it rocked. Zip. There you go. Now I got my spacing. I like that. Wiggle that out. I didn't mess up the board too bad. Now you can come on down here and see. That's a little bit better spacing. Give us a little contraction expansion. So there you go. Tips and tricks. Learning as we go. Okay, at some point you're going to see me do this in the time lapse. I just wanted to show you real quick what we're doing. So I got a finger width gap there, whatever that is, a ½ inch or so. So I'm going to try this trick that I learned from R&R Buildings. Drop the screw in there. I'm going to use a speed square to push that over, and then we're going to drill it in place. So let me get the camo in place first. Camo, get that in place. Let me see if I can set you up here. All right, drop my screws in there. Got my drill ready to go. I'm just gonna take my speed square. I'm gonna set my knee off to the side and I'm gonna push. That's what I'm afraid of. pushing up with the speed square. I got my knee in place. Then again, I'm trying to push it. So I do that one first. Then that one. Pressure's off. There you go. Now our gap's good. See that? Easy breezy. Always thinking. Had to come up with another solution. I kept bending the screws. So what I did is I have this little pry bar. It's just a mini guy, and this clamp. And I probably had about the same space here, about a half-inch gap. So I just used the clamp. I slide that down since I have enough space in between the boards. You can see that's not real thick. I just slid that right down in there. Clamp it over. Bob's your uncle. There she is. Absolute thing of beauty. I don't know if you can sling a tape across her, but pretty good and level. There you go, friends. Done. And you might be saying to yourself, wait a second, you're not done. There's no railing. There's no stairs. I mean, these temporary stairs. You still got to take it around the side. Yep, you're 100% right. Not sure what we're going to do yet with the railing. Thankfully, where we're at, no code on decks. So I don't have to put a railing if I don't want to put a railing. And it's 8 feet, so I'm not super worried about somebody just stumbling out and falling off, but we'll see. We'll see once the boss comes back. Eventually, we're going to put a roof over this, so we might wait till we do that and then run some either 6x6s or 4x4s up to support that roof and then incorporate our railing. And then as far as the stairs go, like I said, these are just the temporary ones we already had on there. I'm going to make a complete separate video about how to make my own stairs, because for me, and maybe for you, that's really the elephant in the room. I mean, this was difficult to do and make sure I got everything square, and I'm a little bit off down there. I came out about an inch. I was a 1/4 inch out of square, but an inch off with the edge of my boards. So I don't know if I just didn't line it up. I'm not sure exactly where I got sideways, but like our building says, if it looks straight, it is straight. And then I'll just cut this front down so you won't even notice that those are different. So yeah, so that's it. I mean, I think if you, a couple things, right? Those camo screws, I think they're going to be great. Now, I don't have any reference as far as how easy or how hard it was, right? I'm sure if you have one of those screwdriver things that's on a elevated stick and you can just walk and zip, 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 that would be way quicker doing this. I can't imagine though doing screw by screw would be much quicker if you're having to bend over. And that, for me, was the worst part. It probably took me, on the easy boards, about 3 minutes a board. On the more difficult wavy boards, it took closer to 7 to 10 minutes. I think I have 32 boards here, so you can do the math. 320 minutes. No, not quite that long. It's 1 o'clock here. I think I started at 11, so about 2 hours. Yeah, maybe 120 minutes. So it takes time. And that's another thing I'm learning, right? We always talk about this. God keeps telling me to slow down, take my time. Anytime you have to use fasteners, whether it's the joist hangers, these screws, and there's a lot of them, just plan that it's going to take time, because it just takes time. I thought doing the ledger boards and the rim joist was going to be the hard part. It wasn't. It was getting all those nails in and getting all these screws in. So just keep that in your mind as a thing that you know, that's what's going to take you the time. It's not moving the wood around, which, by the way, I absolutely love working with wood. I don't know if there's an easier medium out there to work with for building. It's incredible. Some of these boards were just like a snake, and I'd pull it for one and I'd push it for the other, and it just worked out beautifully. And my spaces are they perfect? No, but they're all pretty close to that 3/16 inch that camo screw gun was lining up. So overall, I'm pretty impressed. I mean, it's sturdy. I got nothing. I mean, there's nothing shaking, nothing moving. I got to do, like I said, I got to clean up a little bit here and there, but you know, it's not stuff you need to see, and it's not something I'm going to do today, because guess what? It's Friday. I hope you're wearing your red, right? Take a moment. Remember everybody deployed. Even though it's not in the news, you don't see it on TV everywhere, we still have folks all over the world doing work. So take a moment. Be thankful for them. Be thankful for all that God has provided for you in your life. If you're able to sit down on YouTube and watch this video, or even thinking about building a deck, I'm pretty sure you got some blessings in your life. So take some time today and count those blessings and thank God for those blessings. So 4 days altogether. That's what I was getting at earlier. It took me 4 days. If you're planning out a little better, you'd think I would, you know, after building the mini cabin, just building the deck, I'd be able to plan this out. I'm still short a couple boards over on that side. I had to go back to town for different joist hangers. I forgot nails. Just piddly stuff. So take your time, slow down, figure out what you need, and I bet you could get this done in 3 days. And now, I know these professionals that they probably knock this out in a day, maybe 2, if they did that quick dry concrete stuff. But you know, I'm not. I was dealing with the weather, the rain, the wind, and everything else, and 4 days. So and it's nice, it's solid. So yeah, so now if you like this video, make sure you hit like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell icon so you know when we post new content. Subscribe will let you know, you know, hey, this is all we got out there. I mean, from the ground up with the mini cabin, digging holes, to the roof, and now with this deck. Yeah, we're absolutely blessed. We're blessed to have you along with us. So like I said, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. Look up this way. We're going to post another video, probably something related to this build series. And until next time, be safe.